everybody, and welcome to an electrifying wild ride with Steve-O. We've got arguably the king of EDM, electronic dance music, Steve Aoki. And wow, was he candid. I went ahead and asked about the celebrity DJs and like, how easy is it to pretend to be DJing and you're really not DJing? Like, dude, he is the coolest. He came with the goods. He served up the juice. And man, this one is humongous. So strap on your seatbelts and let's get into it. All right. And we're good to go?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Aoki. Yeah, dude. Now you've met Scott Randolph.
Sir. What's up, Scott?
You've met Vinny.
What's up, dude? Nice to meet you.
Man, off to a crazy start. We show up, setting up the podcast, and someone comes over to the bus and says, Steve's about to get into a cold plunge, and he wants to know if you want to join him. Like, how am I going to say no to that?
That's what it takes to get you in a cold plunge nowadays. Steve, okay.
I mean, nowadays.
I was surprised you didn't do it. You haven't done it yet. I was like, wow, Steve-O hasn't done a cold plunge. Out of all the crazy shit you've done, I'm like, he hasn't done a cold plunge. I'm like, this is awesome. I got to do the first one with you, you know?
Right. I mean, I've jumped into cold water.
For sure.
Before.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the first things I ever did way back in the day was extreme ice skating, where I went out on a frozen river skating in a tutu until I fell through the ice. But yeah, that 5 minutes. By the end of that 5 minutes, I was not.
You did the whole 5.
I did the whole 5. Dude, he wouldn't let me. He had me in a rear naked choke over here.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt you try to like slide out towards the. I'm like, nah, man, you're going back in.
I mean, dude, I don't understand how that can be good for you.
Well, how do you feel now?
I feel great now. Yeah. Now, on a regular basis, you do 5 minutes?
Yeah, we do like 4 or 5 minutes. I feel like at some point it's diminishing returns.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't really do it for like the inflammation, you know, which is a big reason why you should do it. The muscle inflammation, all that stuff. But I do it just for the chaos in my mind and how to control that and find calm in it. And,
all right.
And then obviously there's like, you know, your mitochondria is fucking moving. Your cells are going like crazy. Your immune system is getting boosted. And all that good stuff inside.
Cold plunges are having a moment where a lot of people are broadcasting to the world that they're so good for you. So,
I mean, I'm a believer in extreme cold exposure, also extreme heat exposure. So like just saunas on a regular basis. I think saunas are even better than a cold plunge, as far as health benefits.
Okay.
Do you have a sauna at your house too?
Dude, we came out of the sauna.
We're roasting. We're like
then
basically turkeys in the oven.
Yeah.
We were roasting. But yeah, man, that's it's just great, man. I really appreciate how you know, like just ready to go you were as soon as we met. Like, let's do this, let's do that.
Well, you're Steve-O, man. I mean, I've been watching you do the craziest shit like on TV forever. So I'm like, I gotta get to your level, you know, at least a little bit.
I love that. You got a huge foam pit in the house. We both did gainers off of the platform into the foam pit. They hit the skateboard ramp. It's an epic. We did Aoki jumps.
Yeah.
In the studio. I'm so surprised that out of all those Polaroids on the wall that I'm the only one.
You're the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one has to do it.
Yeah. Bunch of bitch ass pussies. Yeah, dude. How old are you?
45.
45. Okay. I'm soon to be 49.
Wow.
Yeah. You're aging a lot better than I am, man.
No.
And I'm not aging terribly. But you're doing really well.
What's it like to be at the last year of your 40s? Because 50 sounds so old. You know what I mean? Like, 40s is like, okay, that's like old, but it's not old. Like 50 is just fucking old. Like,
Right.
I'm like 5 years from that, so I'm trying to savor every single fucking day I have. I don't want to be fucking 50. That's too fucking scary. So like, what's that like, man?
I mean, dude, I've got this tour that I was telling you about, and I come out on stage, I say, you know, I don't expect you guys to know this, but I'm in a really bad situation. I'm Steve-O in my 40s. And like, it gets laughed. But if I were to do the same line and say I'm Steve-O in my 50s, then it has stopped being funny.
It just hits different.
Yeah, it hits different. And so I'm wrapping up this tour, and my next tour is the whole show is going to be like kind of an examination of how I'm confronting middle age.
Yeah.
And becoming actually old.
Right.
I'm lashing out at father time.
Like, obviously, your body, it is different. Like, it heals differently. You feel that, or?
It's not the same as it used to be. I definitely need to retire from doing backflips.
Okay.
Even that gainer we just did in your house, I came up so short and just landed on my face.
That's a great thing about the foam pit, though. You know what I mean? Like, you can land short, so.
But hey, man, we get older, and that's what happens. Are your Aoki jumps getting lower?
I don't know. Your jump was pretty high, 49.
Well, thanks, man. 48 at the moment. But
It was that ice bath, dude.
yeah, the ice bath. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
you
my
might
God.
need to incorporate some of that. I mean, if you know, for like just limberness and like.
You know, do you do yoga?
Yeah, I mean, I do it like I kind of do like the 10-minute yoga before I work out.
Okay.
So it's more like stretching.
That sounds good for me. I mean, I'm terrified of yoga.
Yeah, why?
It's just like, whenever I've done it, I've found the experience to be so miserable that I just can't stand doing it. I dread the idea of it.
Because you can't stretch well, or you can't.
Yeah, I can't stretch well. I mean, I don't know. You've done it with me.
I hate it.
Hate it.
You don't like it either?
And
I hate it so much that I'm like so pissed off at the teacher while we're doing it, but like I realize it's my fault that I think
It's
I hate
definitely
it because
your fault. It's 100% your fault.
Blaming the
because I
teacher.
suck so bad.
And one
Yeah.
step worse is that everything about the miserable experience is my body crying out that it needs me to do yoga. It's like me not doing yoga because I don't like the experience is like if I were to floss my teeth and my gums bled, and I said, oh, flossing makes my gums bleed, better not do that.
Yeah, exactly.
When in fact, the gums bleeding is them crying out because you need to floss.
That's a good example. It's so true, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And-
when my gums bleed, I'm like, fuck, I gotta do this more. Because
Yeah.
I don't do as much either.
Oh, yeah, I
And,
floss so, dude. I used to be one of these people who cannot get away with not flossing, and as such, just has this bacteria. You know that bacteria if you smell it in people's mouths?
Yes, that's
And-
true. I was just talking about that.
Yeah, no
Like when
amount of
you're like,
brushing.
if you kiss like if I kiss a girl, like I could almost. I'm like, please floss. I just want to say like,
Yeah,
please floss
I know.
without saying.
I know.
Because it's there. You
I
can
know.
smell the. It's like when you do the floss
it's-
and you smell the
Yeah,
line.
smell the floss, yeah.
And you're just like, wow, and then you're like, you smell on someone's breath. It's because they didn't floss.
It's because they didn't floss. It's so gnarly. And our society is structured such that it is not acceptable to tell somebody, hey man, I need to talk to you as a friend. Like, I'm just telling you, you gotta floss.
Somebody
You know?
somebody told me that Colgate has like a thing you can call in, and they'll secretly send a package to the person and say, "Hey, somebody reported you as having bad breath."
Wow.
But it's not even bad breath, because bad breath comes from inside you, like, and it blows out. This is just a dead animal sitting in your mouth that just crawled behind your tooth and died.
I think about that all the time. Here's other fun fact I learned: the plaque in your mouth that stays there actually can seep through your gums into your brain.
It causes
causes an
heart
infection.
disease.
Amyloid beta plaques that eventually cause Alzheimer's and
God, that's so gnarly.
dementia and all that. All like the plaques between your
Wow.
synapses, right? So like your synapses are firing, remembering where your keys are, and then you have plaque buildup and you just don't remember anymore because.
I
So
understood.
that's kind of crazy.
I
Saunas
understood
take
there
that
was heart
away.
disease.
Saunas,
Saunas take the plaque.
That's what the research says is that saunas, like being in a hot, extreme heat exposure, creates these heat shock proteins that that cut through the plaque. So I get very excited about that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm over here freaking out. I haven't flossed in like a decade.
I mean, dude,
Shut up.
Next time you kiss someone, like, you might be like,
It's been a
about-
long time since I've flossed. It's been a very long time.
I can tell you that I have not smelled that bacteria coming out of your mouth.
Okay, great.
Have you been
And
really
you would tell me.
close, or
Have you been
Close
really
enough.
honest?
Yeah.
Scott and I made a pact when we started working together almost 10 years ago that if either of us smell that on each other, that like
Give him a heads up, dude.
bro code is you
Yeah.
gotta tell me.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like, if you start off with a preface, like, I'm not saying this to be mean.
Right,
I'm saying this to, like, to benefit you.
right. I remember a dentist telling me that. I went to a dentist, he told me that, and then I just realized, oh my God, that's why people have told me, dude, your breath. And I'm like, I just brushed my teeth. They're like, yeah, but your breath. You know? And one time I got in the van with the Jackass guys, and Wee Man says, dude, Steve-O, your breath. And then Noxo says, saying Steve-O has bad breath is like saying Wee Man is short.
Wow.
It was gnarly, and people would tell me like your breath, and I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And then when the dentist told me that one time in 2009, I don't think I've had that ever since. I'm very vigilant about my oral hygiene. Water pick, floss,
Wow.
brush, tongue scrape.
The tongue
Mouth
scrape
one.
is like something I don't do.
Oh, dude, it's a big one.
Yeah. But what? But like, I mean, obviously it scrapes all the bacteria and gross stuff off your tongue. But is that something you should do so it doesn't build up over time? Or
I just think the bacteria building up on your tongue is a threat to your breath.
yeah.
And anybody who knows me knows that when they hear violent gagging,
It's the worst.
that's me. Because I go to scrape my tongue so far back that I violently gag every time I do it.
4 a.m. on a tour bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a fascinating discussion. But what I want to know, I've seen you do Aoki jumps like on private jets, and do you have a top Aoki jump? And apologies if that's such a generic question.
No, it's not. It's actually I don't think I've ever been asked that question, and it's like my thing. I've done more than what I've numbered, because I number them.
Yeah.
I've numbered them from 2012, since like the beginning of Instagram I started. So right, like I think the first month of Instagram was my first Aoki jump. It was in Miami on the beach. I remember that. And I've done over like 1,000, 1,100 or something that I've documented. It's hard to pick a favorite one. I did so many. A lot of them
Private
was,
jet. Pretty sick.
yeah. Oh yeah, on top of the private jet.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty epic. That's pretty epic. I did one in a hospital because I hurt my neck, and I
Okay.
did one like while I was in the gurney. So it was a fake jump. I had my feet up like this, and like the neck brace on in Puerto Rico after I screwed my neck up really bad from jumping off this DJ booth, and so I remember that one. Just because the experience was so like.
Yeah.
You know.
On the private jet one, like that had to have been. I mean, did they check out the jet after you did that to make sure that the jet wasn't compromised? Like, I mean, if you figure if some guy's jumping on the wing, like I don't want to get in there and fly this thing.
I've done it a few times where I'm on top of the jet.
Right.
So I've been like I climbed on the wing and then climbed on the very, very top, and then I jumped, and then yeah, of course, like, you know, I'm asking the permissions and making sure
right.
like, is this like cool? Is this like, you know, and they're like, it's totally fine. So, you know, we were able to do it. And these are like small airports with
Right.
like probably a lot less restrictions and regulations, you know.
Man, we met up with the pilot and talked to. We actually met him at the airport, and and I was like, "Hey, dude, I want to duct tape myself to a plane." And that we were initially, before we did, it was the billboard truck and I was driving down the highway duct taped to it. It was supposed to be an airplane and I was duct taped to it. And the guy ended up getting cold feet after agreeing to it. Like,
Well, he was down as fuck, and then when we actually showed up at the plane with the stunt guy, the stunt coordinator, and like 3 other people, he was like, you can just see, like, he's like, I can't lose my pilot's license for this.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
this is, you know.
So I had a story like this. So I was on a plane, and this pilot is the homie. He was awesome, and he was, we're flying up in the air, and he's like, "Yo, look to the right," and then we look to the right, and boom, the plane just does a flip up front of
Okay.
the plane, doing a full-on flip.
like they call
Like
it a barrel roll?
A barrel
or-
roll.
okay,
a barrel
yeah.
roll. And we're like, whoa, shit, this is crazy. And then we're like, can you do it again? We got to film it.
Oh, wait. The plane you were in
Yes.
did the barrel
Yeah.
roll.
So we're like
Oh,
going up,
weird.
and then he's like, yo, look to the right. Like, look outside. And then boom, he does a barrel roll. And then we go, I'm like, yo, can you do it again? 'Cause he's like, he was so cool. And then he goes
Oh my
out,
God.
and I'm like, can we do it again? We want to film it this time. And then he does it again. And then, I put it up on the gram, and then poor guy lost his license. For sure.
Oh, man,
I
bummer.
felt so bad about that because he was the best pilot he was just so cool.
Damn.
Wow.
The guy would just do stuff like that, and you don't want to get him in trouble. I don't want to get him in trouble.
Yeah, of
You know what I
course
mean?
not.
Like he's not doing anything that he
He
can't.
did.
He
kind of is.
Yeah, but, he can handle it.
Right.
But, I mean, I did a Red Bull stunt plane once, with Carrie Chambliss, and that was. I mean, we did like 30 barrel rolls.
Yeah.
We did front flips. We did going up and drop, and then turning off the engine, and then him falling down, and then flipping all the way down
Wow.
and going straight down
cool.
as if now I know what it feels like to go nosedive and die,
Yeah.
and then coming back out of that through 6 G's up. That was one of the most epic bucket list items for sure for me.
I feel like that jerk that has to one up everybody, but
I know you're the one. I mean, this is kind of I'm telling the story so I can hear yours. 'Cause,
well, no, I mean, I think that it is a little bit different. Yeah, I didn't do as much cool stunts as you just described, but when we were in Russia filming Wild Boys, which was actually the final ever Wild Boys trip, I got in a Russian MiG fighter jet and went faster than the speed of sound.
oh my God.
All the way to the edge of the Earth's
Oh
atmosphere.
my God. That's
where-
incredible.
Where it was not a cloud in the sky, blue, it was noon, fully sunny day, and we went up to the point where it was just straight dark, and I was looking at the earth from from darkness, still within the Earth's atmosphere. And I remember I asked the pilot, does this make me an astronaut? And the pilot, this Russian, goes, yes. Yes. And Chris Pontius went on to dispute that. He said, if you go to the edge of a woman's pussy, you're still a virgin.
This is why you're on TV. This is exactly why you're on TV. You say funny, stupid shit like this. It's too fucking good. It's too fucking good. Oh my God.
But on the way back down, we did do barrel rolls.
That's sick.
There wasn't
Did you do any G's?
I mean, dude, out of the whole experience, because I hate roller coasters. I hate, but out of the whole experience, it was just a claustrophobia issue, because it was just such a tiny space that we were in.
That's got to be one of the coolest
I
things
don't
you've
mind
ever
it.
done, though.
It's definitely.
Up there, top.
It's definitely.
Yeah.
When you went
I-
up to the
so-
edge, was the Earth flat or was there a
Oh, dude,
curvature?
totally. Spoiler alert, the Earth was not flat, but I'll tell you what is flat, extremely sharp, and super high quality, and that is my razors from Harry's. Now listen here and listen close, because this is a deal that you're out of your mind if you don't jump on. Harry's is the best men's shaving products out there. No gimmicks, it's just classy and good. I've been using them for over 3 years now. It's all I use. Harry's. And they've got this starter kit for you. It's got the 5-blade German engineered razor, the weighted ergonomic handle, the foaming shave gel, the travel cover. This starter kit is a $13 value, and you can have it for only $3 if you go to harrys.com/Stevo. Again, I swear by these products. I can't stand not having a good shave, and you should too. So go to harrys.com/Stevo, jump on this deal, and enjoy. Let's get back to it. Total curvature. And I remember posting the footage of it, or footage. I took this photo from, and saying about the flat Earth people. So I think I can kind of set this to rest, and they were like, fisheye lens. The flat Earth thing. I mean, we just got back from Australia, and we're going back to Australia again. I want to know what the flat Earth people, when we're leaving from LA. And we're going the opposite direction, because going the other way around the globe is, right? Wouldn't that?
Or time zones.
There's a lot. There's a lot there. You just
right. But let's not waste our time with that. So I was watching this Wall Street Journal interview that I think it was probably fairly recent. And it was fascinating. And this guy who was interviewing you, he's like, so when you're making $500,000 per night, per show, how can these casinos justify? And I just thought, wow, that guy kind of went straight into the money question. And you were so cool and candid about it.
It's Wall Street Journal. This is what they think about is money. Everything is finance or economy or I don't mind that at all.
It's crazy.
Actually it's a really good question that he did ask.
Right.
Because you think about this money that gets paid, these really high fees that get paid to artists or comedians or whatever.
Right.
Right. And it all has to make sense. It all has to even out. Of course, you take the risks as a promoter or as a casino or as booking a DJ or anyone.
Right.
And you think they're gonna bring in this amount of number, and it doesn't, and then you lose money, but you don't book them again.
Right.
That's just what happens. And then you get better at who you end up booking.
I would have guessed. If somebody posed that question to me about DJs and just how insane the amount of money they're paid is, my mind would go to the insane amount of money that Netflix pays to a Dave Chappelle
Or Chris Rock.
or a Chris Rock or a
Which
a
is how much?
Seinfeld. I mean,
they
dude.
But they did three. Dave Chappelle did 3 for $100 million.
I
Yeah,
thought,
but
I thought
somebody
it was
said-
3 for 60. So that's 20 million per special.
Yeah, but
And
didn't they just give 20 million to Chris Rock for that
I heard
one?
they gave him 40.
And then riding in cars with comedians did a lot.
Right. And now in that scenario, I gotta believe that you can't justify that payout on money that it's bringing in, that it's really more in a bigger picture sense. They're trying to invest in their brand and have that cachet and that prestige of having done that, and that it's way long term down the line that they expect that to actually pay
That's
back.
the music side of things. For example, Rolling Stones, when they do shows, the promoter, you know how much they get when they do a show? If they pick a promoter, because they have to pick someone to organize their show.
Like an AEG or a Live Nation.
Yeah, but they usually pick someone else. They only give that person 1%.
Okay.
And that person's going to take it. And they're basically making nothing. But they're doing the Rolling Stones show.
Right.
And having that Rolling Stones show, they could do a bunch of other things. And they have the access and the relationships built on that. You have to be you can't just be a random going, I'll do it, it's 1%. You have to be the top to even book a Rolling Stones show.
Right.
But Dave Matthews Band, like a lot of these groups, they know their worth, and so they can command that dollar amount, and like there's no one bigger. There's no one bigger than Chris Rock right now after what happened.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like he could command it, and it's like a huge in this case it's a marketing push going, okay, well this is gonna get everyone in.
Right.
Well,
And maybe it does.
I heard Jay-Z gets 120% of the door. So he makes the money. No, what I mean by that is he gets the parking lot money, he gets the concession stands, and then they get whatever left over because he's bringing. I mean, what's the Rose Bowl? I mean, that's massive,
right?
And all the parking that.
See,
comes
I could be even wrong with the Rolling Stones, because this is like what I've heard just from like the game of telephone. It could be like 0.
Yeah.
It could be a 0. Like you just have to do the show
accolade.
for free.
I think that the question becomes like what's going on with the food and beverage, like the beer money, the hot dogs, the merch, like all that going on. But I think that again, what I would guess is that when you've got like one of these big Las Vegas casinos paying you an insane amount of money, it's because the Las Vegas casino like ecosystem is like a game of who's the cool kid, like what table do the cool kids sit at, and by having Steve Aoki at that casino, that gives that casino
The bragging
that
rights.
shine,
Yeah.
that prestige, and that makes that casino the one that people think is the cool one that they want to go and put their money into when they come to Vegas.
And well, here's the thing too with Vegas, the casinos generally don't operate the clubs. In one case, Resorts World, they operate Zouk.
Okay.
So like they're involved, they're hand in hand. But like for me, for example, I'm with Tao Group, and Tao Group has Hakkasan, which is inside MGM,
Okay.
Omnia, which is inside Caesar's Palace. There are 2 competing casinos. So.
Right.
And then they have Tao, and they have Marquee, which is inside Cosmopolitan. So they manage a bunch of different clubs, and they have partnerships with those casinos. But they are essentially, they're the one footing the bill, and it's 100% not a marketing thing. They have to make money off these DJs.
Well, there you go.
You have to. And if the DJs aren't bringing in what they expected them to bring in, when that contract's up, they're not gonna be most likely not playing with them.
Good.
And so that's what happens. Like I've seen it, because I've had a residency in Vegas since 2010, and I started with the Wing Group. And I was there for 4 years. 2014, I moved over to Hakkasan Group, and I was DJing it for Hakkasan, and Hakkasan opened up Omnia at Caesars. So now I've been with them for 10 years, and I just seen the DJs that like had the shine, they had their moment with their song or whatever record that blew them up, and then they couldn't follow up with it for whatever reason. And Vegas is the most important thing to know about Vegas is it's not a trend-setting city. You don't break records here.
Right.
You don't break moments here. They have to already be broken. That's why you have the Celine Dions and the Adeles and the Bruno Mars and Britney Spears, and like you have to have already made it, because you don't like it's the lowest. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say lowest hanging fruit, but it's like people are here just to have a good time. They don't necessarily I already know when they come to a Steve Aoki show, I already assume they know maybe one song, and they don't even know the name of it.
Right.
They're just coming. They're like, "Yo, Aoki's crazy. He's like throwing cakes." And I don't throw cakes in Vegas, but he's just like like I keep my entertainment level really high level everywhere I go, not just for Vegas, but just because I enjoy it. But
Sure.
yeah, but it resonates over time, and so at the end of the day, you have to think like the club, the room of Las Vegas is a room that just wants to have a good time, and you have to truly be a DJ, more of a DJ and less of an artist. Whereas at a festival, you're more of an artist, less of a DJ. And what I mean by that is like when you're an artist, you play all your unreleased music, all your records, all the songs that define you musically. The songs that aren't necessarily like the big records that the culture knows.
Right.
and like the songs that are pushing the needle for like that genre. And then as a DJ, you have to read the room and go
Please the crowd.
Yes, and it's not necessarily like I do play my music, of course I have to, but I'm like thinking about how to get everyone's attention at all times.
Right.
And if I lose their attention, I have to figure out how to get it back with a surprise, with something that's familiar,
Right.
with some kind of moment that I can do outside of the music. And that's why I think about like the cakes and like I used to do a raft, and I used to raft over the crowd.
Yeah.
And I used to do some Steve-O jumps from like really high into the raft, like things like that. So
Right.
Why don't you throw cakes in Vegas?
because it's messy and they don't want to deal with the liability.
Yeah.
And they just don't want to deal with all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my show is like I haven't done cakes here in probably 5 years, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And it's still like a pretty, it's a solid show. So
Yeah.
like I don't need the cakes here, although I have like the cake me signs up, but yeah, that's why I get excited to tour everywhere else,
For sure.
Thank you for asking that, because I was dying to know why you don't throw cakes in Vegas. And thank you for clarifying the reality here. It's fascinating that there's just that much money coming in, and that it's not the difference between marketing and business is that's a really good distinction, and I'm glad that you made it. Man, what's the capacity when you're doing a Hakkasan gig in Vegas?
Hakkasan is small. Hakkasan, I feel like, I could be wrong, it's 2,000 to 3,000 or something like that, but it does feel like more intimate. Omnia is it's that club that's got the chandelier that comes down. It looks like you're in like a spacecraft kind of thing. It's a like incredible like alien probe that comes down. That I think they spent like $150 million building that club too. It's like the most opulent, most insane looking club on the planet. That club's quite big. I think it's like 4,000 or 5,000 or something like that. And then there's like What Republic, which I play quite a lot. It's like pool parties here, and those pool parties can be really big too. I think in the thousands, obviously.
Wow. So, I mean, just doing the math, like, people, they got to be charging people quite a bit to even get in there, huh?
I think girls just generally get in for free.
Nice.
I think that's just how it works here. And the tables are the money generators.
Okay.
GA, general admission. They fill it up, and I'm not sure how much they charge. I don't think it's like an exorbitant amount of money. And I mean, if you buy a table and you're spending lots of, whatever, that's how they're able to make like sometimes $1 million a day, $1 million a night. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
To take the comparison between DJs and comedy, I'm a guy who was known for Jackass. Then all of a sudden I start doing stand-up. And there are other people who have come from other areas and then moved over into stand-up. And it's always kind of like some resistance, like, what's this guy doing, And clearly people have done that with DJing as well. But again, my, uneducated observation is that when you're doing stand-up comedy, it is a lonely place to be. If you're on stage, just you and a microphone and a whole bunch of people, if you don't have the goods for those people, then your like time doing stand-up comedy is not gonna last. You kind of like, so I think that there's less of a reason to give people a hard time for getting into stand-up, because it's whether you got it or you don't that's gonna be the question. But I imagine being a DJ that resistance to celebrity DJs might be a little bit more justified, because people could be up there just hit and play, doing nothing.
Well, actually, the actual DJing is not difficult. The actual mixing is not difficult. That doesn't take that much time. I think you could say the same thing about skateboarding. It's not difficult. No, it's not difficult to ollie.
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay,
not easy to learn how to ollie.
Well, I mean, if you were to tell a kid, do this over and over and over and over and over again for a month, and you'll ollie.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, it's not difficult to play guitar.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, you could learn a whole song in a month. If you do it and you watch YouTube tutorial and you just play the whole thing over and over and over again. It's not difficult to play drums and get the matching down with your kick on your foot and the timing with your hi-hat. You just have to do it again and again. I think with mixing and listening to music and all that stuff, it's like, and the buttons, it might look kind of
daunting.
A lot. You know, when you stare at this thing at a mixing board, even in like producing music, all these things, and I know people like are saying, well, DJing is supposed to be easy. Yes, it is. That's not the hard part. The hard part is standing in front of a crowd and playing music. Like, here's the other thing. I'm gonna rewind. So a lot of people think that DJing, that most DJs don't DJ. They just push one button and it just plays and they just up there like this.
I don't believe that.
Okay, I know. Well, like to answer that question to those people, it's too easy to just learn. Like, like pressing one button and then like faking it is like, I think it's more difficult because you have to like pretend and you have to like do all this other stuff that you don't even know what you're doing. That's harder. It's more boring. Like, I want to be doing something that's actually tweaking the sound, doing something. And then, yes, once I press play on one of the CDJs, it's playing, right? So when it's playing and I'm not mixing, then I can go grab my cake and I can cake someone.
Okay.
You know, and then like the song ends, I'm like, hey, it's okay. I just cake someone, I'm walking back to stage, everyone's cool. Then I get back on and I like play the next song. But essentially, the act of DJing is not a difficult thing. And it's more about curating your set, making sure it's like a story that you're trying to tell, you know, a musical story you're trying to tell. The mixing part, you could actually get better and better and better at mixing and making it seamless. And so when you want to get the technical detail of the mix and you're listening to a mix and you can hear like when certain things, like when the treble, like when certain sounds come in and certain, you know, sounds are coming out in a certain way. If you're listening to that detail, then you're like, wow. And that's when you go into these more like all night raves and techno parties where, you know, you're in there for 6 hours. Like, it's all about that mix and feeling that emotional drive. It is a psychology. It is a psychology for sure.
Do you ever DJ for 6 hours?
I've done like a 14-hour set.
Wow.
Holy
Is
shit.
that one of your Guinness World Plaques?
No, that's like, oh my God, that's nothing for
Okay.
DJs. Especially for like techno DJs and house DJs, like on the regular, like if you're in that space, you're like, you have to be doing 5 to 8 hour, 10-hour sets. So, but like it's, you know, just like everything, just like in comedy, just like in music genres, there's so many genres within EDM.
Yeah.
And the genre that Steve Aoki is known for is like pure EDM. It's like, it's entertaining. It's an entertainment dance music, almost, like want to call it like that. And I'm putting like a full on, like, I'm like a Ferrari. We're going like fucking in the red the entire time. Like, I'm going to push it all the way.
I love that, man. And frankly, I like to live my life in the red too. Just going for it. Full force, never stop. But that can come with a price. And that is why I'm so glad this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp.com. Because I strongly believe in the value of therapy. And if you've been thinking about trying therapy, let me tell you about BetterHelp.com. That's better, HELP.com. It's just a very simple way to get matched up with a licensed therapist. It's all online, so it's super convenient and easy to work with your schedule. If you're not happy with the therapist or for any reason you want to switch, you can absolutely switch at no extra cost. And it just helps, man. It helps my relationship. It helps my peace of mind, and I think it can help you. So if you go to betterhelp.com/Stevo, you can get 10% off your first month. and it is well worth looking into. Again, if you've been thinking about trying therapy, I urge you to follow that instinct and follow it right to betterhelp.com/Stevo. Now, let's get back to it.
So my set is generally 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Right?
And pushing it just means the beats just. Boom,
I mean, there is a web and flow, but when I push it, it's like it's maximal. It's like I want to completely, like, my whole point is if I can get people like just rip their shirts off and fucking scream because they just want to feel that moment. If I could see that happening, I did my job. You know, like it's supposed to, like, I'm trying to get like you out of your skin.
And that matters on the BPMs, the beats per minute.
Not really, because I do it across the board. You could make someone feel that way at 120. 128 is like my core BPM tempo, but I go as high as 170, 150, 160, like, you know, and that's also just like bouncy music. I don't know if you want to call it that, but you know,
when you're up there, are you like looking at somebody like, oh, I'm gonna get this guy to fucking take his shirt off, dude? Like,
it already happens. It already happens, you know. I mean, my shirt's off halfway through the set. My shirt's off.
Well, I mean, for good reason. I mean, like, we get in the sauna too, and I'm like, man, like, I'm flabby. You're not flabby at all, dude. It's impressive. You said that the artist versus the DJ. It sounded to me like you were saying the artist is the one creating music, original music,
right?
That they make themselves, whereas a DJ is more curating just the music that's in the ether already.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, and when we were in your house, I saw like 4 billion streams on Spotify. Was that's a pretty badass plaque?
Yeah.
That's epic, and that presumably is for music that you created, original music from scratch.
Yes. Yeah. Mainly originals, and then, you know, sampling like classics and remixing them. But generally, it's originals.
When you sample classic music into your original music, like that means that you're splitting the publishing, like the music revenue with that, the owner of that or that sample.
Well, I'll give you an example. So my last record, I just dropped it last weekend. It's called Wild.
Okay.
Based on Born to Be Wild. Born to be wild.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, exactly. So I took that sample, Born to Be Wild. I did it with these incredible DJs called Vinny Vici, and put on the psytrance drop, and it's a banger at the shows. Everyone's just jumping, going crazy to it. Now, when you go to the back end of that record, 100% of the publishing went to Steppenwolf.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't always go like that, but some people are like, if you're going to use our sample, we're going to give you nothing, and you're going to like it.
Like the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, so we're lucky to even give it to you, kind of thing.
Wow.
So I mean, I've done that before, where 100% of the pub goes to them, and even though I did that with Popcorn as well. Popcorn's like this really classic sample by Gershon Mosley that eventually got remade by Hot Buttered. It's a 1967 sample, like dun 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 dun. I don't know if you know this one, but like that's like the first electronic melody as far as like 1967. And that's I was lucky to even clear that song. We had to send Popcorn, the name is, to the estate every single week. I was sending Popcorn. My label was sending Popcorn to the estate because he doesn't receive emails. He can only like knock on his door or call him.
Wow.
And he finally cleared it, but he's like, it's 100%. Like you get zero pub.
That sounds to me like the artist who does the Super Bowl halftime gets paid nothing, but it's just so much exposure that it's always worth it. Mm-hmm. And when you're sampling Born to Be Wild on a song, I mean, it's kind of guaranteed to be such a banger that like it benefits you, like doing the Super Bowl halftime show. You want to have a hit.
Even though the actual amount of time on the the total track
Right.
is maybe in total with both times he sings it is maybe like 6 seconds
and
or 8 seconds.
And it
you know?
doesn't loop?
No,
it only happens twice.
It says one time before the first drop, and the second time we glitch out his voice so you could barely even tell he's saying it. So you can really only hear it the one time, but it's such a strong sample, and we don't want to not use it. Like we could have easily just put on like another sample that's free,
Right.
but like the sample's too good. So
Do you ask permission, or do you try to get clearance before you make the song, or do you go ahead and make the song first and then show it to them?
Yeah.
you can do that, and when like here's another example with I think like a Rolling Stones is that it's like you can do that, but then like they'll come after you, right? And they're gonna take all the pub. So if you do it beforehand, you can actually try to negotiate. And so in some cases where I've like taken a really strong sample, I've taken at least like maybe like 10, 15, 20% of the pub because I did a sizable production.
I think what he's asking though is not putting it out, but just making the
Yeah,
song.
just making the song.
Say, hey, I have this song to put out. What do you
Look how
think?
rad it is.
Yeah, look how rad it is.
Do I have your permission?
So I'll give you another example. So I made a record with Dimitri Vegas, who's a good friend of mine from Europe, and we sampled the White Lotus theme.
Oh, wow, okay.
And we didn't ask any permission at all to Netflix or White Lotus at all. We just put it out, and then they took it down. It was up for a month. It literally it was number one.
Up where?
It was up on Spotify,
Okay.
Apple, everything, and it got number one in this website called 1001 Track Lists, which shows all the DJs playing this record. So everyone was playing our White Lotus theme sample house record because it's a great track. It works so good. The sample's so interesting and weird, whether you watch the show or not.
Right.
And for like a month, it was number one most played by all DJs around the world, being recorded by this website. And it didn't matter, so they just took it down. Like, no, you're out.
They took it down and demanded the publishing money?
No, they just took it down.
So they just took it down. I mean, in the world of artificial intelligence, they had to have known about it right away.
But Tiesto's version's still up there because he got cleared. So
Okay.
I was like, because I remember we had this conversation, me and the other producer on the record, and we're like, we should clear this thing, right? Because it's so good, And he's like, well, if we clear it, it's gonna take months, and then the show's over, so
Right.
the hype's gone. So we're like, let's just fucking run with it. So we
And there was no penalty for running.
yeah,
it.
we just did it, and it was cool for the moment, and and like the talk on White Lotus is over, and sample's cool, but like I'm not really playing it anymore. So it was like good for its moment.
All right. With collabing with other artists, is there ever like a Rolling Stones kind of a situation where they like I'll collab with you on a track, but I get all the pub? Is that like
No, I haven't seen that, because like if we're both working on the record, like you can't really.
right?
But actually, I haven't really experienced this that deep. But when there's a lot of writers, then it can be like, well, I did this much, because
Right.
like on some records there might be like 8 writers,
Right.
because it's not just whoever's producing the music, but you have the melody writers, the actual lyrical writers, the singer that might have written like maybe a lyric, because all you have to write is one. You can
Hook.
write. You can write like no. You can write the.
Yeah. Okay.
Like let's change this to and to the. Like you could literally write just something a little bit different, and you get a piece of the pub, right? So,
Right.
And like all of that comes into play, and then it's just sometimes a mess, and then also egos and like
Right.
who's a bigger name and things like that. And I don't deal with any of that stuff, so
There's a
I'm
blessing.
sure like that's been a hurdle that my management had to jump over.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
That's great. That's great news that you don't have to deal with that. On the Tribe Called Quest album that came out. It was like their first album in I don't know how many years, but they had Elton John. Not only did they sample one of Elton John's classic tunes, it's a Wall of Sound, but they also had Elton John record in the studio singing
Wow.
on. So it was both double dip,
Wow.
sample and feature.
Yeah. I didn't know he was featured on a Tribe Called Quest.
Dude,
It's crazy.
and it's the most incredible song. That album is so damn good.
Wow.
It's wild, and I would love to know what it took to both sample and get the feature.
Yeah,
I can
'cause
picture that being a 100% pub situation.
Yeah.
I have so many records that I've done with amazing artists that never came out. Like, we
Wow.
have finished songs that just from management, from the record label saying, no, this doesn't fit within the timeline, and then time goes by, and then the song just kind of gets stuck in this back burner. I'm like, what about this great song we made? And it's just gone. It's like gone in the dust. And these are great moments with amazing artists that would, the fans from both the artists, fans all over the place would absolutely love to hear. And it like hurts my soul sometimes when I like think about that.
Didn't Michael Jackson continue putting out music for years and years after he died because there were so many situations like that?
Like Prince has so much
I bet.
music in the archives too.
So you're with a record label.
I have my own label.
There you go.
That boy.
Attaboy.
Yeah, so I was with the label for 10 years, and when I didn't have the money to foot the bill on because when you do an album, I've done 7 studio albums, and each album, they're all features with different singers or bands or artists
Right.
or other producers. It's costly, it's 6 figures to 7 figures sometimes, on cost, on paying out and making sure that everyone's paid out, before even and cleared.
If you're going to spend that much doing it, though, are you then buying out the artist's contribution?
No, they're still like on the master side. I don't know exactly what the deals look like, but on the pub, we're sharing. Sometimes the artists don't sing the song. They sing the song, but they don't write the song.
Right.
So I'm working with the songwriters. But you've been in my house. You see how big my house is. I've had songwriting camps at my house, and we churn out lots of songs in all those rooms.
Yeah, it sounds a bit to me like movies where when I do a Jackass movie, I've got my upfront money, and then I've got the back end percentage.
Yeah.
So
But-
you gotta the budget's going to pay the artist upfront,
Yes.
and then they get the back end too.
So the first 10 years of my career, I couldn't afford spending that kind of money. And then at a label going, okay, we're going to give you this advance and we're
Right.
going to pay for all this. And then
Right.
you're going to get your small percentage at the end. I was like, fine, this is great.
Right.
And then, but they own my music in perpetuity, forever. But at the time I was like, you know what? They're paying for it all. I guess it's fine. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't care how much it costs, how much my albums cost. My last album was 24 tracks, 21 songs, 25 tracks, 21 tracks with different artists and 4 or 5 interludes. And I pay for the whole thing myself. I don't care about the costs anymore. It's just like anything, you invest in your
Right.
own. But now I have the money to do that. And I don't care if it does badly. It's okay. Because it's like I own it.
Can we agree that this is pretty much the best episode ever? And get ready, because we're going to talk about anti-aging and everything that we can do to stay young as we get old. And spoiler alert, it's all about sleep, baby. I happen to be reaching an age where sleep is the most important thing to me, and that is why my mattress is so crucial. And if you're even thinking about trading in your disgusting old mattress for a really good new one that's going to get you better sleep, then I have the answer for you, and it is called helixsleep.com. Now, you go to helixsleep.com/Stevo. You take the simplest 2-minute quiz so that you can be paired up with the mattress that is scientifically best for you. And these people are so generous to my listeners, it's up to $350 off any mattress purchase. Plus, when you make that purchase, you get 2 free pillows thrown in. And man, their pillows are unbelievably epic. I love their mattresses, and I got a feeling that you need a new one. So go to helixsleep.com/Stevo. Jump on this epic deal, up to $350 off a mattress. It's insane. helixsleep.com/Stevo. Now let's get back to it. Right.
So my label Dimmock owns, I own it. Actually, I own it, and I even licensed to my own label. I even made one more step to know that I own it personally, and I'm licensing it to my label Dimmock as a license.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to think to ever work with a major or another label unless the money was ridiculous. And I just don't care that much anymore. So I'm so happy I have this freedom moving forward.
Right. I've always understood that there's a little bit of a catch-22 in music, that if you want to become big, you have to have a record deal with a major label. But if you want to really make money, you have to own your music. And that's those are mutually exclusive concepts. So you're kind of screwed in the beginning no matter what.
Yeah, it's true. Because the percentage is so small. And it's hard for these labels to even recoup.
Right.
Like the idea to recoup is almost I don't know what the percentage is, but I am assuming it's going to be a tiny percentage that they're going to recoup, and they're going to give you a royalty. So whatever advance you get from that major is pretty much the only money you're going to get. I'd say 99% of the time. I'm just taking a wild guess here.
That reminds me of book publishing. I can't imagine ever getting any back end on a book deal, because it's so hard for the publisher to recoup.
Yeah.
And I've done 2 books.
Right.
With the publishing and the owning your own record, creating your own music, how, if you were going to put the money you've made from music that you've created compared to the personal appearance, revenue from the shows, how would that
what's
how do
that
they
pie
compare?
chart?
Yeah, what's the pie chart?
I'd say live shows, I'm going to be very, very kind of broad.
Sure.
I'm assuming it's probably over 80%.
There you go.
Of my income, maybe more. And then I do a lot of endorsement deals, which is also quite high too.
Sure.
So the music, making my royalties for my music is actually a very small percentage.
That 4 billion streams on Spotify didn't pay shit.
Well, think about this. So I think for every million streams, it's $400.
Wow,
So
that's even worse than YouTube.
Yeah, so to go to 1 billion, it's 4 million, right? 1 billion is 4 million.
That's
400,000.
CPM is cost per millennia, which is 1,000.
That's I think it's 4 million. You get $4 million for 1 billion streams. $4 million is not going straight to you. It's split up with whoever owns the master.
Yeah.
And then once it gets to my side, I have to pay my managers.
Sure.
I have to pay my business managers. I have to pay lawyers.
Yeah.
I have to pay all these people, and I have a team.
Yep.
You subsidize all those different costs that I pay. You make, 20%, 30% of the 100. So the reality. And then the taxes on top of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's it sounds like a lot of money, but then when you just dice it up, you realize you're only getting the tail of the fish.
I only just started really paying attention to accounting, and I shouldn't say this, but I'll go ahead and I will. But there was a period of time that we were looking at where the accountants told me that I generated $1.1 million in revenue, but I netted 97,000.
That makes sense. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all.
It's gnarly. It's
Is
really
that after tax?
No, I don't even think that's after tax.
You got maybe 50 grand.
Yeah, I mean,
It's after taxes.
Oh, is it after
Yeah.
taxes? Okay, Scott.
That would be crazy. 1.1
Yeah.
million and 50 grand.
I know, but now to be fair, we found an inventory discrepancy which did add like another 100. So it was more like 1.1 million to 200.
Right.
But then again, that's still,
And that was in a year.
See, that's a problem.
It took place in a year, yes.
Everyone thinks about 1.1.
that
They're
happened
like,
during a year.
and then you start spending. You're like, I got
Right.
1.1. I could buy this. I could buy that. I could buy this.
Right.
And then the reality is you have 100 grand.
Right.
Like,
It's
like,
scary.
Yeah, it's 100 grand. So maybe you spend like 20 grand. 20 grand tops.
Right.
Like that's your safety spend, not like 400 grand.
Yeah,
Or 300 grand, whatever it is, like.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like how it all just vanishes.
This is why I still fly Spirit.
Do you?
I
That's
flew
great.
Spirit on the. I flew Spirit. Like I don't mind it.
That's fantastic.
I mean I fly Spirit. I fly Southwest. I fly. All these other airlines. Every airline that can get me. Well, direct. I don't
Yeah.
fly Spirit, just fly Spirit.
Right.
The last time I flew Spirit, I literally was stuck on the tarmac because, there was yelling and crying and screaming going on, and they wouldn't leave the plane. But
That's really cool, man. Can you imagine you're on Spirit Airlines and you're sitting next to Steve Aoki?
well, if you're sitting next to me, it's impossible to talk to me because I have noise cancellation headphones on. I got this huge eye mask, and then I have a big pillow that I'm already laying against, and then I'm just got a sweater that's kind of hooded over everything else. So, good luck getting any of my attention. I'm just out. I'm
Right.
out cold.
That's crazy. We might want to rethink our air travel. Was it? We spent a boatload of money on air travel last year. I went everywhere on the tour bus. It makes no sense.
It's crazy. It's I think about. I still do private jets, and actually, when I'm in Europe, we just charter a jet for the whole summer. And
Oh wow.
yeah, we just charter for the whole summer and get a
Jesus.
bulk rate on that. I think it's in total 300-400 grand for the whole summer.
That's insane.
Yeah, so that's great for us because Europe is almost like flying across the United States and doing shows, right? But even better because every country is maybe 1 or 2 hours apart.
Right.
So the actual cost of me flying from one country to another is the actual cost maybe $5 grand if you bulk rate it, or $4 grand if you bulk rate it.
Right.
So then I'm able to fly my whole team. I have a bed in the back of the plane. I sleep right away, and that way I get in. I also leave later so I can sleep, because one of the main things going on in my life right now is just getting better sleep.
Wow, that's
the
coming up
most
all
important
over the
thing.
place.
It's the most
Talk
important
to
thing.
this guy about that. Do you have a way of measuring your sleep stages?
You have a whoop strip.
I got 3 tracking devices. on me.
You got the Aura ring.
You got 3 too.
I've got 2. This isn't an Aura ring.
Oh,
but
I was like, that looks like an Aura ring. Okay,
It-
so yeah, you got 2. I got 3. I check them every morning.
how much do we love Whoop? Or are you?
I'm a big whooper. I love Whoop. Whoop. It's interesting. Whoop and the Apple Watch, because they're on the wrist. They give me both very similar data. Aura gives me different data.
Okay.
It gives me worse data.
What? We need worse data.
I mean, probably better data, but worse. The information's not good. My RAM is always fucking piss
so
poor.
you're saying that you're getting conflicting accounts of
But
the
it's
same
very
metrics.
conservative metrics on the Whoop. I don't know if it's because it's on the finger. I surely don't like it because my RAM is fucking horrible.
Even with the ice baths and the saunas?
I do everything. I take magnesium. I take trazodone now, 50 milligrams of that before I sleep. I do some little bit of What's that called? Before you sleep?
Ecstasy.
Melatonin.
A little bit of acid on the tongue. Melatonin, a little bit of that. I do like a whole sleep regimen.
Right.
Like I do a red light. I have a red light therapy bed. I just lay on the red light therapy bed and put on sleep. I have a fucking grounding mat. I'm on for 30 minutes. I have a hyperbaric chamber in my room. I fucking go all in on biohacking. You know, like,
that's why.
That's why you fly Spirit.
That's why. That's why you look so great. And the only thing you're missing is the bringing in the 18-year-old dudes to get their blood transfusion.
Fecal transfusion.
I heard about that. The blood plasma, the younger blood plasma that you can transfuse in your bloodstream.
That's just straight creepy to me, but I get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, stem cells is like somewhat similar.
Yeah. Have you done that?
I've done that.
Did you go to Colombia for that?
I went down to Panama.
Okay. I went to Medellin,
How was that?
Colombia. This place called Bioaccelerator. Joe Rogan talks about it all the time.
Really?
Like it's unbelievable, and you got to go somewhere outside of America because the procedures that they do, the techniques are not legal in America. And it's not that they're illegal in America because there's anything controversial about where the stems come from. They're not even coming from like aborted babies. They're coming from the umbilical cords of perfectly healthy babies that,
And they replicate.
Yeah,
they can replicate.
There's nothing controversial about the origin of the stem cells. What's controversial is allegedly the medical complex, the medical industrial complex doesn't want solutions to health problems that don't involve like getting paid for the drugs and the pharmaceuticals and the operations and all that. They want people to be sick and so they can operate on them and sell them drugs.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, that's what the speculation I heard.
Yeah, there's definitely like like in America, there's like the church is so tied in with the state kind of thing too, which, in stem cells, is such a controversial point for that.
Yeah, but that's just...
And it doesn't make sense because it's like, like you said, it's from an umbilical cord.
Right.
It's not from a baby.
It's not an aborted baby. Yeah. It's a perfectly healthy baby that was born and is happily living with its mother. And instead of throwing away the umbilical cord, they harvest it for stem cells.
Right, and it replicates over time. I'm sure that's the details.
I don't even know about it replicating.
Yeah.
I just think there's just a fuck ton of stem cells in there.
Yeah,
I went with Danny Way. You know Danny Way?
Oh yeah, I know Danny. Yeah.
Yeah, he got his own Guinness World Record. I don't know if it was verified, but the most stem cells pumped into a human being, like, in one go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's so gnarly. Like, the way his whole, like, he's just like the bionic man. Him and Matt Hoffman have been operated on so much.
Yeah, I guess it's like that's where it does help. A regeneration.
Dude, he's got no cartilage, zero cartilage in his knees. It's just bone on bone.
Oh my god.
And he's fucking skating. I think the last time I talked to him, he said that now his MRIs are showing cartilage in his knee again, and that's just 100% from the stem cells.
When I was in Panama, I saw a lot of kids that had muscle dystrophy, which means their muscles like just disintegrate or deteriorate over time.
Yeah.
And they're there for stem cells. So there was some sort of program that was allowing them to get stem cells so they can regenerate their muscle tissue. Some like, I don't know the science behind it, but, that I was like, wow. So that's helping kids that have this, sad disease, and it's helping people that want to heal faster in certain areas of the body. I had like shoulder issues. So I went in there, I got shots in my shoulder, an intravenous through the body just to do the whole.
So you flush the hole and it homes in on areas that need shit.
Yeah,
somehow.
it's like Navy SEALs coming in, just going, oh, we got a problem down here.
Yeah. So they do it intravenously through your whole system, and then they'll do it locally where they just hit in one spot that they know needs help. I did with my neck for degenerative disc disease.
And how did that how did it feel after?
You know, it's tough for me to really say that how much it helped because I know that the issue's there, but it hasn't gotten so bad yet. So it was a little bit preemptive, you know. So I'm just a bad example.
I'm also, whenever I think about things like this, I don't try to look for like the immediate reaction, because usually immediate reactions are not real. You know, they're
Right,
placebo,
of course not.
You know,
Of course
it's like
not.
it's like how you feel, but it's
Right.
it's always like with all the stuff that I do, it's like you have to do it a lot, and you have to do it over time, and then do a test from like, you know, your baseline to
Right.
3 months or 6 months later. But it can only make sense if you're doing something consistently, and then you could get a true reading.
That, yes. Plus, even scientifically, they said that, you know, don't expect to see a difference on an MRI or an X-ray like for 6 months, because it's going to take that long for the stem cells to actually like do their thing.
Right, and you know, but the one thing you can test is, you know, your HRV.
Yeah.
Because I that's one thing that I was, you know, talking to Dan Bilzerian about it, and he says his HRV score, it just doubled after he took his stem cells.
Oh wow, how about
and
that?
And he's like obsessed with diagnostics as well. That's
Yeah.
all we do is like 30% of our conversation is literally on diagnostic check on. Okay, so what's going on with your health here? Where's
Are
your
you guys
HRV
in the
up?
Whoop group?
No, but we should. Are you in a Whoop group?
I haven't
I started one too.
Dude,
with some
I'm
friends.
in. I'm in.
Let's do it.
Like, you know, how are you with your diet? Like sugar? Like, are you?
You know, when I go out to eat, it just everything's thrown out the window. Like I just ate at Delilah's. I had like some dessert, you know, at the end, and I was like, whatever. But for now, right now, I've been pretty good. In general, like, you know, I do these bets. They keep me in line. That's my discipline.
Okay.
Without a bet, I can't get kept in line. It's so interesting how my brain works.
I have no ability to moderate anything. So I'm either like disastrously awful, or I'm like super
Impeccable.
disciplined and like doing great. Right now, I'm really doing well avoiding sugar. As soon as I like screw up once, next thing you
then
know,
it's
I'm in the gas station with the Reese's. You know, like, but I say that because my HRV, depending on my diet, if I'm awful, my HRV's awful. If I'm avoiding flour and sugar and eating like a somewhat responsible human being, then my HRV is way higher.
That's why it's so fun to gamify this stuff.
Yeah.
So that way you like, because like our brains are like, they're intelligent, but they're also so primitive. Like you need to like, you need to speak to the dumb fucking guy inside of your head and like gamify it and trick it. Like I have to trick my stupid brain
Right.
with these bets.
Dude,
You know, and then I won't eat bread. I mean, just because
Yeah.
I put a bet on it, like, you know, with my friend, it's an honor bet, so I could easily eat bread without him
Right.
even knowing. But
What's the
knowing that
bet?
it's $500 if I eat a piece of bread or pasta. But like breaded chicken or, you know, like there's
Yeah.
bread on things is okay. But like a piece of bread, 'cause I love bread and butter
Yeah.
Me
at a
too.
dinner table. There's a beautiful bread and butter at the dinner table yesterday. I was like, I'm not touching that thing. I made a bread bet. I'm gonna pay $500. Fuck that. So once I have that in my mind, I just won't do it. You know, you kind of need this stupid thing in your head. It's like, why can't I do it without this bet? You
Right.
know what I mean?
Dude, a perfect example of exactly what you're talking about is my meditation practice. I keep track of it on an app, and if I skip a day, I'm gonna lose this streak. Like today, 1,188 straight days,
What?
averaging more than 40 minutes of meditating every single day.
Oh my God.
I do it twice a day. Today I'm 26 minutes in. So
Wow.
the way I view it, I owe the universe 15 minutes because I got to maintain.
This is gamifying. It's so good. Wait, what's this app?
This app, there's nothing special about it. Like it doesn't it's not guided or anything. I do mantra-based meditation.
okay.
It's called Center.
Okay.
And dude, like, I'll be damned if I'm gonna break that fucking streak. It's 100% gamified. And just like with my diet, if heaven forbid I skip one day of meditation, it's out the window. I'll
Right.
never get it back.
Yeah.
I'll never get it back. And fuck it, you know.
You know what's interesting? So there's a like this, I love this like tech diagnostic stuff that I keep getting from different companies. There's one that I got that when you meditate, you're supposed to wear this device, and it does more of a diagnostic check on your overall stress level, you know, because what I've learned about longevity and anti-aging is that, clearly like one of the things, caloric restriction is gonna amount to, saving lots of years on your life.
Yeah.
But the overall stress level that you have over a long period of time is one of the key tenets of living a longer life than expected.
Yeah. Worrying.
So like it's like meditation is so crucial. I remember when I did this, I was wearing this thing, and you put it in your ears, and you have it testing on the back of your neck. And I was meditating. It just immediately, I love seeing the graphs. You see, like everything just drop.
You gotta hook me up.
Yeah.
You gotta hook me up with that. And like worrying is so fucking destructive.
Yeah.
Like stress and it's crazy. With your renting a private jet for a whole, I gotta go back to this.
Yeah.
Renting a private jet for a whole fucking summer. Does that mean that you don't even bother with tour buses?
Not in Europe.
Okay, so but when you're in the States?
So I only do that in Europe. We work with a company. I've been working with them for 13 years now, or maybe 15 years. Like every time I'm in Europe, I stay there for a few months, and I have a residency and a visa. So I rarely come back to America unless I have to play in Vegas or I have to play a certain festival. But generally, I'm just there. I want to stay in one time zone. But when I'm here, I'm traveling everything commercial, and I
Spirit Airlines
and Spirit's like, I don't want to shout Spirit out so fucking hard because they're like not great. Okay, they're not great.
I think everybody knows that.
Like American, I'll just shout them out. American is awesome because like I'm concierge key and they pick you up.
It.
How'd you get that?
I'm so
Dude,
resentful.
I don't know, but I'm just happy to be part of the concierge key club because they wait for you right when you get out. Boom, you're outside the plane into a nice car, driven to the next thing. It's like amazing.
Dude, I'm so bummed on American Airlines. When did you become a million miler?
Fuck, 10 years ago.
Oh, God.
I mean, okay, well, listen, I've been doing 200 to 300 shows a year. Every year for the past 18 years.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is like my mileage club on every airline is crazy.
Right.
Because I fly them all. I fly United, Delta, Southwest. I fly every single airline.
What do you do with the frequent flyer miles?
You know what? Like, I'm definitely not optimizing on that.
Well, here's the thing. Scott did this once. He posted on his social media. He said, "I've got so many frequent flyer miles, and I just want to like do something good for somebody. So somebody send me your story, and I'm gonna go through their stories and pick someone. I'm just gonna give you. I'd like to do that right now."
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd like to, because I have a fuck ton of these.
But it has to be two people because you don't want to send somebody by themselves.
Right, of course. Like if the story's good enough, then it's you and a guest.
To go domestic?
I mean, can we not? You're the only one who buys my flights. Can we not use miles to send anybody anywhere in the world?
Yeah, you could do that. But sometimes around the world is like 200,000, then it's now you just spent 400,000 points round trip
within America. Okay, we can deal with other countries later. Within America, now how are they gonna get their story to me?
They're gonna probably follow Vinny at Skinny Vinny.
Oh, Vinny just got verified.
Verified.
Vinny is going to be the liaison.
Yeah.
So they have to follow you.
Yeah.
They got to follow Skinny Vinny on Instagram.
They have to like one of his cool videos on there.
Yeah, and they you know, and they just got to get Vinny's attention, and it's easy on the sob story. If it's something sincere, that's great. But like,
if it gets you, if you'll know who the person
you know what?
is.
I take that back. Sob story is fun. Like whatever, it's compelling. We want compelling.
For sure. I'm in.
You're gonna pick Chad Tepper.
Do you now, Steve? Let me ask you this: like, I gotta believe that we're flooding Vinny's Instagram with requests, and there's gonna be more than one compelling request.
Totally.
Are you interested at all in us making you aware of so we can throw away some of your frequent flyer miles on one of these, or should or
On
do you
Spirit.
wanna?
Spirit Airlines.
No, fuck it. I'll just buy him a ticket on Spirit, man.
You know, so on the first seats, because I just started flying Spirit. You know,
Okay.
like I never thought I would ever do this, and I'm like, my first flight in Spirit Airlines was 45. You know, so the front seat's only 40 extra bucks.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was telling you. He was like,
That's so
what
funny.
airline do you want to fly? I was like, dude, put me in Spirit. I want that fat front seat.
Yeah, but it doesn't recline.
It doesn't recline. But for me, I'm a big dude, so it's nicer than sitting in the back.
Yeah, I mean,
American.
I flew from Miami to Vegas. That's 5 hours on Spirit. That's a long flight.
You don't fly like American lay down seat on the way to Miami from
I
LA?
want to. I prefer Mint, you know, like the JetBlue, but they don't have that option because I had to get back. I remember I was in Friday night. This just happened. So Friday night I played Miami, did my party. Saturday I had to fly out like at 8 in the morning, the only flight out to get me to play my Wet Republic show at 3 p.m. And then right after Wet Republic, I took a private jet to Veracruz, Mexico, which is 5 hours
Wow.
south.
You
And
did
then
a show in
played.
Veracruz?
Yeah, in Tajín,
That's
Mexico.
not like that. That's like not even.
No, if like a big.
I don't want to say like it's an underdeveloped.
Okay, so here's the thing. I want to tell you about Mexico. So I played all over Mexico. I played in the center of I played like Leon to 150,000 people. I played like cities that you probably not have ever heard of.
I've heard of most of it because like when we did Wild Boys, we went everywhere, and that's
Did you
why
go to
I know-
Aguas Calientes?
I'm not sure. I just remember Veracruz because I met a chick in Veracruz that I was pretty jazzed on, and I flew her to LA. So Veracruz is like I remember.
So
it
yeah,
a lot.
yeah, of course. With a girl, of course you remember that. Aguas Calientes is hot water, right? Hot water.
Okay.
The city is my biggest show I've ever played in my whole career. It was like 250,000 people.
Wow.
It's just like these
it-
cities you don't know about, the whole place comes out.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like centered in the middle of this street, in the middle of like this whole city. So like my stage is built up. There's like TVs everywhere, so that like the whole city would come out and watch the show if they couldn't get to like the center street, which was
Crazy.
filled like 4 blocks down. So
Okay,
like stuff like that's so crazy.
What a satisfying experience.
It really
man.
is. It's the greatest high to ever experience. I never got into cocaine, or I never got into like serious drugs that get those serious highs. But I can't imagine a high that comes close. The endorphin release, the scientific. If I was to somehow do my neurofeedback or some sort of brain scan on the brain after
Right.
a show, I don't like the adrenaline, the endorphins, the whatever else is happening in my brain. I'm the happiest I've ever been. It's
Yeah.
I just hope it's like I don't want to lose playing shows. It's the greatest feeling in the world. That's why I do 200, 300 shows a year. And 45,
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep my body, my mind,
Yeah.
my spirit like super strong so I can do this. Like I don't have an intention to retire, you know, because it's just this is my soul is definitely feeling this 100% too. So
For
I'm really
sure.
lucky.
Quick question, Scott. What was the story of the person that you gave that trip to?
I've done it a couple times. I don't remember.
I feel like someone their father was dying of cancer.
Yeah, and I flew out their daughter.
Right.
Or
Okay.
the original winner wanted. She's never seen the ocean before, and she wanted to fly to the Oregon coast, see her
Okay.
sister, but she died before she did it. So I ended up flying out her daughter, I believe.
Okay, so whatever. We've established it. I feel really
Oh
good
yeah,
about
so
that.
I got to get in on this too. So yeah,
Okay.
you did ask me about that. So yeah, count me in. I don't know how, but I'll
Right,
join
but
you.
like Vinny's gonna be the go. He's only gonna send me the really good ones.
Yeah.
And of the really good ones, I'll send you like what I think are the really really good ones.
You pick it.
Or maybe they can go to one of
I
your.
mean, whatever,
Can they go to
whatever.
one of your shows or something?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, come to my show in Vegas. Let's
Yeah.
fly them to Vegas.
Yeah.
That's
I
kinda
think-
cool.
And then we can get them in. We can get them into the show.
I don't necessarily think it's a matter of like come flying them to us. Like what we want is like a trip that's going to be meaningful to someone. Like why do you need to get on an airplane and go do something? What is the compelling reason why you have to like make this trip? And we want to make that trip happen for you. And I want to make sure that it's not just like I'm sending somebody on a trip and they gotta like I'm gonna pay for their hotels and you know their food and everything. It's gonna be an all expenses paid trip for someone who really needs to go on a trip. And I love that we're doing this at the tail end of the podcast because I'm always so like profoundly grateful for the people who really stick with it. And you know, because retention,
the street team.
It's the street team.
The street team.
It's the street team. So, dude, man, like this has been epic. Is there anything that we can draw attention to or promote? You said you just had a song come out last week.
Yeah, Wild with VDB that just came out.
Okay.
I just started a music grading company. So I was showing that to you guys.
Oh, we didn't talk about the trading cards and shit.
Yeah. I mean, like that's a whole long one, but so clearly I'm into trading cards. I'm into like collectibles in general. I love collectibles. And the thing with collectibles is whenever you encase them and encapsulate them, like PSA does with cards.
Right.
Comic books get
graded.
Get graded and encapsulated. Now video games are selling for millions of dollars that are encapsulated and graded.
Like Mike Tyson's Punch Out's probably pretty valuable.
That's gonna be in the six figures for sure, 100%.
Wow.
The VHS tapes are getting graded and sold.
Damn.
For six figures.
I gave
like the
them
first
all
Star
away.
Wars. You know, like if you had a sealed Star Wars. Like, you know, think about this. Like, there's a lot, and now, why isn't vinyl? I know it's supposed to be played.
How about skateboards?
Skateboards. I mean, anything. But that's why I started this company, Audio Media Grading, to encapsulate and grade all music collections. So not just vinyl, but vinyl, CDs, cassette tapes, 8-track. And now we're going to do reels. We're going to do everything in music. And we're, reaching out to all the big audiophile collectors as well to get their grails encapsulated and help sell them and create a secondary, this is an alternative asset. We're going to create a secondary income stream and build a community around grading and encapsulating music collections.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really exciting. I have an insane vinyl collection. It's my first thing that I got into when I.
How many pieces of vinyl do you have?
It's interesting. It's not like I have this crazy amount. Like I had a call with Craig Kalman, the head of Atlantic. He has 2 million pieces of vinyl. So I have like a couple thousand, mainly punk and hardcore because that's what I grew up on, and I'm encapsulating like 1,000 pieces of vinyl because I'm never going to touch them, never going to play them. If I want to play it, I'll just get the new version, Yeah. But like the first editions, the limited to 100s, the test presses, like Beatles records. If you look at the top sales from vinyl, are selling. One sold for $1 million. Like Ringo Starr's White Album sold for over 1.2 million.
Wow.
And that needs to be encapsulated. That needs to be graded. That no one should be playing that particular vinyl. It should be protected and celebrated.
Yeah.
You
got any Gorilla Biscuits vinyl in there?
I have a Gorilla Biscuits tattoo on my back.
That's epic, man. Dude. Nice, dude.
So I got all like Civ and Walter Schriefels and like I'm really close with those guys and.
Dude.
Do you have your own?
Dude, Civ should have done the tattoo on your back.
I know. I got it when I was 18.
Right. Dude, that's epic, man.
You ever thought about coming out with your own skateboard?
I never had my own skateboard.
Like a sick deck.
Yeah, I never had one.
Dude, I got a trick on.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that you had the
mini
skate
ramp.
ramp. It's sick.
Yeah, I mean, I used to skate. I need to get back on that.
It's a tough one, man.
It's totally abandoned. I'm so happy that you jumped on there and like.
It's skateboarding is the ultimate in diminishing returns when you hit your 40s. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just too afraid to fall. Last time I have like the knee pads. I look like a complete poser. I got elbow pads. I'm like wrist guards, helmet. I look so like a kook, But
that's hilarious.
I'm just like, if I'm gonna get up here and I'm gonna try to do a stall or do anything, and if I hurt myself, I'm gonna regret it. You know?
Right. Right.
Maybe we can get you concierge key on Spirit if they're listening. They'll meet you at the gate.
Oh
the
my
whole
God.
deal.
All right. Well, dude, thank you so much, man. What an honor. And dude, I'm in the Whoop group, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm in the Whoop group.
don't think I have your number.
That's gonna gamify it for me because like how bummed do you get if you're green recovery circle if you don't have that blue what do you call it strain circle to meet the green?
Yes, yeah.
If you come up short, does that just bum you out?
I mean, I'm coming up short a lot, especially on the road, because I sleep so fucking shit on the road. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, I'm barely, like, you know, the early morning flights and the late nights, it fucks my head up. So when I'm home, it's all recovery. It's ice baths, sauna, red light, hyperbaric.
But when you get
sleep.
good recovery, then you need to get strain.
Yeah, I know. But I work out. I try to work out every day when I'm home, too.
What's your
Okay.
guys' HRV right now? Do you know?
Today,
Let's see. I'll check.
Mine was 76 last I checked.
HRV.
my HRV today is 63.
Mine's really bad. Mine's 42.
42. And that
Yes,
tells
Mine
you...
Today-
always stays around there. It's like
Yeah,
I have a friend over 100. I'm like so fucking jealous. of him.
There was a time when I was doing like 150 HRV.
No!
I've
The
had
people
it-
at
No!
Whoop, on the calls at Whoop, they were like, we've never seen anybody do like this
Wait,
before.
what? But like, what were you doing that got you to 150? That's crazy.
You were cycling and no sugar.
says no sugar
Oh my
and
God, the
exercise.
sugar.
The sugar's in
The
our life.
sugar's everything.
Yeah,
it's
I
the
mean-
fucking devil.
Yesterday I was 91 HRV.
Whoa.
So
What'd you do yesterday?
Oh my God, that's so good. That's so fucking good. That's, like,
all
my
about the
HRV
Whoop,
right now is
baby.
39 right now. And if
I need to
go
get one of
here,
those.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
42. So 39, 42, much. No.
Yeah, well, dude, I'm in the Whoop group. We'll have each other's data, dude. But, dude, so much fun, man. Thank you for
Yeah, this was great.
Oh, I didn't even mention that how I just barged into your Instagram DM, like just out of nowhere, and then you got right back to me. That was epic.
You're Steve-O. Steve-O.
Yeah, I gotta do that. Like, dude, I love it, man. Thank you, and yeah, that's it.
All right, man. That's awesome.
Let me say it again. I think that was at least one of the greatest podcasts we've ever recorded. And you know, I'm talking to you, my beautiful, wonderful street team. I could not be more thrilled that it is you guys who are aware of this giveaway. My man Vinny, he's right there. Vinny with his prison pocket, with his harem of unbelievably hot chicks, his new verification check that he did not pay for. I mean, dude, God is shining on Vinny, and I need you to follow him. We were just talking about it, man. Like, we're sending somebody on an adventure. You know, tell us your dreams. Tell us, like, what's important. You know, I think I might do this more in the future. Gotta be a good one. So follow Vinny and get to it. All right, man. I love you, my beautiful street team. I love Steve Aoki too. Yeah, dude. Oh, and I'm in Australia. All right, gents.